Blog Talk Radio.
Following ingredients include a look behind the scenes. Cook uncovered until hot. Add grooves to taste.
I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl.
The accident was over a year ago. A second woman has been elected president. The 12th planet has been named in the solar system. The last wild polar bear has died. I slept through it all. I was here for my waking. He called it a beginning. He said it was good. I think you may have thought that anything I did was good.
Welcome to Transition Radio with your host, Mark Angelo Cummings.
And your hostess, Jessica Lane Cummings.
A show for trans folks by trans folks, here to let your voice be heard.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Transition Radio. My name is Mark Angelo Cummings, your host.
And I am Jessica Lane Cummings, your hostess. Tonight's show is being broadcast live from College, Georgia at Roy's Hideaway. We wanted to take a moment to thank our sponsors, thebreastformstore.com
and Dr. Vartan Madirosiani, a facial feminization specialist based out of Jupiter, Florida. Visit our website, please, and click on the link to check them out, and please show them your support.
Who's the tongue-tied one now?
Click, hey. Yeah. I have to keep up with the tradition here. Anyway, transgender individuals are at the mercy. Oh, before we start, I want to tell everybody, please, we want you to call in with your voices and your opinion. I know you guys got lots to say because you're always saying something. So the number to call in is 646-716-6895. Again, that's 646-716-6895. Or join us on chat. We have the chat lines open. We want to hear your opinions, your thoughts and all that good stuff.
Good, bad, and different or other.
Exactly. Well, transgender individuals are at the mercy of many inexperienced medical professionals who have entered the arena of performing surgeries to correct our gender dysphoria, but some with little to no know-how. On October 31st, 2013, Damien Leggett, 34 years old, was given a bilateral mastectomy performed at the Pan Am Clinic in Winnipeg. The drains were removed on November 4th. Damien should have been on the road to recovery within 2 weeks, but within a week of the surgery, it was clear something was not right.
On November 10th, he was admitted to St. Boniface Hospital, but transferred to Health Sciences Center, where he had an ultrasound and fluid was drained. This happened several times. Damien's condition deteriorated at home to the point that I called an ambulance as he had a high fever. His teeth were chattering, and he was barely lucid. Early in the morning of November 17th, he was admitted to HSC after the paramedics took a temperature at his home of 39.5. He was very ill. Damien was admitted with a post-surgical infection. By this time, one of Damien's nipples was necrotic and black, but we were told it was fine.
And 39.5, that's in the American terminology, that's nearly 102-point-something fever. The reason I know that because I'm Cuban and that's what we use. The Celsius.
We use Fahrenheit.
Right, and
they use Celsius.
Yes. So does Cuba and other countries, Europe. We're the only one that's still using the Fahrenheit thing.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, nearly 5 weeks after surgery, December 4th at 12:30 in the afternoon, Damien went to the HSC emergency with his nipple hanging off and pouring fluid, with redness, painful swelling, and abscesses. He was generally unwell and profoundly depressed. After almost 8 hours, Damien asked the surgical resident what to do about the fact that the nipple, his surgeon said it was fine 2 weeks before, was literally hanging off. The resident said not to worry, that people walk around with necrotic toes all the time.
Damien said he was traumatized by the idea of his nipple falling off in his hand, and the resident said that if it happened, he could just throw it in the garbage. Damien...
I know, that's so insensitive.
That's crazy. I can't believe somebody would just
But
say
this
that.
is a medical,
I sawed my finger off, but hey, don't worry about it. Just throw it in the garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. Anyway, Damien was hospitalized in December with another surgical infection and spent another 6 days in the hospital. Prior to Christmas, his surgeon came to see him for a couple of minutes, at which point he cut off Damien's nipple with a pair of scissors.
I'm glad he just didn't bite it off or do something, or just pulled it off. What the hell? It's only a nipple, you know. He was back in the hospital again with abscess and a fever on Christmas Day and stayed until New Year's Eve. It was not until February that he was able to return to school. Damien has been given no choice but to have this devastating and terrible surgery corrected by a surgeon in Toronto. The surgery will correct as best. The surgeon will actually correct it as best as he possibly can, and despite this work, Damien will have no feeling in his upper chest area as a result of the total and irreversible damage from what should have been a relatively easy procedure.
Healthcare options for transgender people are severely limited. Manitoba Health do not currently cover transgender surgery out of province. In order to fix the terrible damage, Damien is expected to return to the surgeon who performed the initial surgery. We have no choice but to reach out to friends to help us fund the surgical procedure and the expenses that we will incur as he recovers in Toronto. If there are any funds not needed, we will apply them towards a therapist, as he has not been able to afford trans-friendly therapy and is sitting on multiple waiting lists, despite being diagnosed as suffering post-traumatic stress as a result of this painful and terrible ordeal.
Due to the shocking nature of the surgical results, we were reluctant to upload post-op photos online, but we felt it was important for you to see. It is the professional assessment of several surgeons that the results are catastrophic. We are blessed to have the counsel and services of Dr. Mark Duperry, one of the most prominent and respected surgeon for transgender patients, who is hopeful and optimistic that he can undo the worst of the damage and restore Damien's chest to as normal as possible. The cost of the surgery is $11,271.75. Please visit the website at www.indiegogo.com/projects/Damien Leggett and -surgery-fund. I'll probably end up linking that information to our blog talk and also on the YouTube video that I make of these podcasts, and contribute to help this young man any way possible. You know, here we are, we're bitching about RuPaul show, how they call transgender individuals she-male, trannies, and all these different things. We're not focusing on the most important things that we really need to focus on.
And exactly, and this only goes to show you the complications that can arise from the surgeries that we put ourselves through, that we go through to become the gender we feel we are. And, this is just one of the many, many downside stories of the problems that can occur. And, also not to say that, before you go under the knife with a surgeon, make sure you do your research completely, fully, and 10 times over before you make a final decision on who you're going to go with. Don't go with the cheapest individual. Go with the most renowned, because you will be much happier.
That, and also the bedside manners. I mean, come on, really. Here you are, frantic that your nipple, I know that was one of my biggest concerns, that my nipples were going to become necrotic and fall off. Oh, not to worry, just if it falls off, put it in the trash. Like it's nothing, no big deal, what's a nipple? So it's,
let me cut your freaking foot off and throw it in the garbage.
Yeah,
exactly. What you do then.
But this is what I'm getting at. We as a community, we have lost sight of what is actually important. We need to educate the medical community. We need to educate each other. We need not worry about petty words and language and things that really hurts no one. So what if somebody calls me a tranny? Okay, oops, my feelings got hurt, big deal. But now go to a surgeon, have something that's not correctly done, you're looking at major problems, life and death situations here. So this is something that I feel that we need to worry a little bit more. And another big typical problem is work in the trans community. Here's a story titled Transgender Substitute Teachers Upset Lumberton ISD Parents. A transgender substitute teacher said she has been told she should not return to her class after parents complained about her. Laura Jane Klug, or Klug, I'm not quite sure how that's pronounced, who was born Kurt Klug, worked as a fifth-grade substitute teacher at Lumberton Intermediate School, but was asked not to return after some of the student parents contacted the school. Klug told 12 News that she met with a representative of Lumberton Independent School District Human Resources and Superintendent John Balastro Tuesday afternoon.
Klug said they suspended her pending a decision by the school board on whether to continue using her as a substitute teacher. Roger Beard, whose son was in the class Klug was subbing, said what concerns him is the distraction he believes a transgender teacher poses to 10 and 11-year-old children. If it does affect my child and his ability to learn, or if it causes questions that I don't feel are appropriate, then undoubtedly there's an issue with having somebody transgender, transsexual, or transvestite to be teaching that age group, Beard said.
And obviously they don't know the difference between transvestite and, and everything else. They're just clumping everybody in one big category. Anyway, Klug said that she has substituted at the school without any issues before, and she's unsure what instigated the outrage. I've always conducted myself in a professional manner and would never discuss my gender identity in school, Klug said. Activists in the LGBT community, like Viola Sells, who is head of the Lamar Ally, said this is a case of discrimination and that a person's sexuality has nothing to do with their qualifications. Education is all about holding up a mirror to society, showing children what real life is, and a transgender individual is a part of real life, and they are a real person.
Klug said the Lumberton ISD School Board will privately make a decision whether to fire her, but she said she expects parents will show up to the open forum at the school board meeting on Thursday to voice their opinions.
Now, this is not the first teacher that's had issue. This is not the first person who is transgender who has faced losing their job because of being who they are.
Well, this goes to show you that parents are teaching their kids to be discriminative towards people that are different. It's like, it's beyond me.
It's society.
How backwoods parents can be teaching their kids this. It's a part of real life. Their kids are going to see other kids in their school eventually at some point in time that are transgender. They're going to end up seeing, people out on the street that are transgender. Because we are becoming more and more visible every day. And, there are more and more people that are actually coming out and transitioning, people that are in the mainstream, the public eye. So, your children are going to see transgender people out there. You're not going to be able to cover it up like the government tries to cover up a lot of things.
Or they're afraid that their children might get the idea and become transgender. They don't have to see someone else to feel who they are inside.
It's not contagious.
It's not contagious. And to tell you the truth, a lot of these parents are going to have a rude awakening because there is a number of rising transgender individuals being seen. And it's not just because there's more of it out there on TV, like people say, keep your story to yourself. We don't need to hear this stuff. It's just part of the evolution of the species. And I've said it time and time again, call it the chemicals, call it the universe speaking out and showing our true nature of duality. But it's important that people educate themselves. They realize that just because you're gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender does not mean you cannot be qualified to do the job. You were doing a job before and doing it greatly.
I've got a question for somebody. What if you've got a child? What if you have your child out and about and you see a child in a wheelchair with multiple sclerosis or Down syndrome? Are you going to cover your kid's eyes and pull them away? No, it's because, they're not able to help the way that they're born. And we are biologically born this way. So,
It's society, though, that that just
It is how we feel comfortable. It's about our expression.
Society instills all these programming, all these boxes that we are supposed to fit in. I'm going to bring a little perfect example, and I won't mention names. In Facebook, there's this young man who's an FTM, and he's getting all this grief from so-called friends on Facebook because he smokes pot and he's sleeping around with a lot of people. He's hurt, and this is the way he's handling it. He's hurt. Let me finish, please. He's hurt, and he's unable to deal with the situation, and therefore, what happens? Well, people are judging him because he's not leading the lifestyle that this individual or other individuals are used to. So we can't judge people. We have to let people be and let them be happy. If smoking pot and making love to somebody all day makes them happy, what is it to you?
Mm-hmm. Anyway, now for our Shame on You segment. Passing is Not Fakery by Michelle Spicer. Have you ever seen before and after pictures of transgender people online and your immediate reaction is that they must be faking it? After all, how can hormones possibly change a person that much? They look fantastic while you lean over, look into the mirror, and cringe. The hormones are doing nothing for me.
You think to yourself, and then your gender dysphoria explodes, and you just want to crawl into a hole and die. Sadly, this reaction can cause a lot of heartache in the transgender community, but that does not automatically mean that the person you're looking at is somehow fake or photoshopped. There is the possibility of this, of course. Anything on the internet is possible. However, getting upset about a successful transition is pointless and further divides the trans community.
We, and this includes me, have to learn to put aside our jealousy and frustration over how well our transition is going and learn to rejoice in the success of others. Going on the attack just because someone's transition went incredibly well does the community no good. Instead, practice sending them love because it probably took a lot for them to get to where they are, and they have problems that the camera does not show.
No one's life is perfect, so give them a break. Do not hate them because they're beautiful, but embrace them and as our brothers and sisters in one great big transgender family. Hiccup, hiccup. Going on the attack is just a shame.
To read the remainder of the article, make sure to check the blog at shameonyou2014.blogspot.com for some really interesting and controversial articles. And if there is something you want to report and have us talk about, make sure you fill in the form provided on our blog.
This is something that happens a lot in the community. There's a lot of envy, there's a lot of jealousy, there's a lot of individuals that, because they may not transition as greatly, will take it out on somebody else. This has actually happened a lot to you, Jessica, where a lot of people have targeted you because of the way you transitioned. They've actually even name called you. What was the last one? Called
the nature of the beast.
What did they say? Something about lotion?
I don't know. Some stupid shit.
Rock hard or whatever. People are just envious, and what makes us think that the transgender community is any different? We have to realize not everyone's going to transition as greatly as somebody else. Not everyone's going to lead the same life that we're going to lead, so there's no use judging other people. We each have a role here in life. And talking about role in life, I'm sure a lot of you have heard the Bundy standoff. That has been something that's been, first off, in the internet news, then finally the media picked it up. And there's a lot of hidden agendas inside this particular dilemma. The Bundy standoff, the BLM, now is in full retreat against the citizens of the United States of America. It has announced a stand down and has begun releasing the Bundy family cattle from the BLM's bovine concentration camps. This has just been confirmed by the Bundy family on their Facebook page.
A tense standoff had taken place for several hours where armed citizens of the United States of America, many on horseback, drew a little line in the sand and refused to back down until BLM released the cattle. A brigade of armed Americans, many waving American flags, blockaded the road at a strategic roadway point. BLM, a tyrannical police state gang conducting illegitimate operations earlier, ordered the FAA to ban all civilian flights over the region in an effort to enforce a media blackout. possibly in preparation for an armed assault on the protesters.
Government thugs had inflamed the situation by ordering attack dogs to attack innocent bystanders and saying on the record that they hoped the protesters were ready to die. Outraged by the lawless aggression of an out-of-control government, American citizens band together to stand up for tyranny, even at the risk of being killed in the process. You know, it's really sad. We had this discussion the other day on Facebook, and some people say that we're conspiracy nuts and all sorts of different name-calling went through because people don't tend to believe that the government does not have their best interests. You know? So, yeah, now you're mad at me because I told you not to interrupt me and you're not talking. Mm-mm. You know, it's like you do that all the time, you know.
You can lie.
No, I can lie in it. It's like I'm in the middle of a thought process, and boom, you interrupt me. And
oh, yeah, okay. So my voice doesn't mean shit.
Your voice does, but don't interrupt me when I'm in the middle.
Go back to what we were doing.
Okay, well, go ahead and let's talk about the Bundy matter. And
go ahead.
Well,
feel free to talk about it. No, but my input, I get yelled at, so whatever.
No, you didn't get yelled at. The reason is I'm in the middle of the thing.
9 comments out of your mouth.
All I said is, let me finish.
No, you didn't. We don't need to have this argument on the air because, believe me.
Believe you what?
Believe me, you don't want to. So
okay.
Let's go back to the discussion.
I'm so scared. Anyway.
Yeah, that's whatever.
We were saying about the Bundy case. What was that girl? I mean, we'll mention names, but they believe that the government has entitlement to the land. Well, the land belongs to the people, and the Bundy family has been there for eons. But that's not even the story behind this whole thing. The story behind this whole thing is all about money. Earlier today, we were listening to a video regarding the true meaning behind this, and it was something regarding a senator who was, do you recall, Senator, do you mind taking participation here? The senator.
I'm doing.
Okay.
You know what?
Senators. Talk.
About what?
About what we saw today. The senator regarding, it's all about a money ploy and had nothing to do with the turtles and nothing to do with.
First of all, oil on the land.
It's not even that. It was something else. They were saying that they were trying to buy off the land. And, I mean, I'll put the link of the video that talks all about
privation of public land. Yeah. One of the chatters was discussing.
Privation. There you go. Exactly. And, you know, we as American citizens are dead asleep. We're not realizing what's actually going on in the world here, and because this is not just America. I mean, all of this has happened in other countries. We're probably the last country standing, and I see us falling deeply, deeply, deeply. And what is she saying here? How it happens worldwide, many in Western world.
Yeah, many in the Western world, and like, I'm assuming she's referring to many in the Western world as far as like the Western Times or whatever, the Old Corral.
Yes, definitely. And that is actually Gabriella.
Yeah,
Gabriella. And she's going to be our guest this Thursday. Very, very interesting individual, very awakened and aware. And we need to be more aware and awakened because things are going to start really clamping down here in the big
Exactly, and all you people need to wake up because when the FEMA camps get set up and they start coming to round everybody up, you better be willing to fight. No matter what they say, you'll be on the other side of the fence going, we should have taken us with you.
Yeah. And you know what happens is most people say, well, it doesn't affect me. And there was a commercial actually says when they came to take a certain group of people, it didn't affect me. When they came to take another group of people, it didn't affect me. But then when it starts to affect you, then you start really thinking and opening your eyes and realize something is deadly wrong.
If you really want to know, watch, well, actually, you won't be able to watch the Police State episode of Conspiracy Theory with Jesse Ventura about the whole situation where the government purchased like thousands and thousands and thousands of grave liners which is where they intend to put people, etc., in these liners, I guess, because they're cheap, etc., whatever. So, just be prepared to. That's something you should watch. The Jesse Ventura Conspiracy Theory. Go on YouTube, look it up, the police state, and you'll see exactly what we're referring to about the FEMA camps and etc. and so on.
I woke up back in 2008, and a lot of people thought I was crazy. And little by little, we're starting to see things taking place. All the cameras everywhere. Ever since 9/11, when the Patriot Act was put into effect, the president has the power to create martial art and
martial art,
a martial law, martial law. And people just don't get it. They really don't realize that something is not right in the world. You went to college, you're paying off all the student loans, but you don't have a job. Why? Because you've been laid off. Companies are outsourcing. There's nothing left of America. And unless we do what these individuals did, the militia, to take back what is rightfully ours, to stand up against the tyranny and these corporations that are running our government, then we are going to see ourselves in a really bad predicament. Totally. Watch how Gabby is very open to extreme. It's very
open to extreme. The extreme.
Yes. Well, I think more and more people are starting to wake up. There's still a lot of sheeple and dead asleep individuals, but there are people that are actually waking up. Anyway, guys, check out our Transgender Highway blog. We just finished putting up a performance there. We did a live performance here at Roy's Hideaway, and check it out. Give us your feedback. We are definitely looking forward to traveling in different areas in the United States. We can't go everywhere because gasoline is not cheap, and but we're trying to hit as many places as we possibly can, and normally staying 1 month at a time in a location. If you want us to perform or provide a place of work, school, or any organization with sensitivity training and education regarding trans issues, please contact us at transitionradioshow@gmail.com. Again, that's transitionradioshow@gmail.com.
I tried to type fuck in the chat room and it put ****. It censored me. Damn it.
See, we're even censored. Everything we do, next will be cameras in the toilet, finding out how much toilet paper, and if you're polluting too much of the sewer lines, they won't let you. And it's all, of course, ladies and gentlemen, for your protection.
Yeah, exactly.
We send troops all over the world for our protection, but they really don't tell you it's all about selling weapons, and because
they'll let you type hell, but they won't allow you to type the word fuck.
What you call it? Now I lost my train of thought.
Good.
Anyway, guys, stay tuned for Thursday's show with...
Now who's the blonde?
I can never pronounce her name.
Gabriella Janice Whitesell.
Yes. All the way from Australia. It'll be Thursday night, our time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. It'll be Friday at her end, I think at 10 o'clock in the morning or something near that nature.
Yeah, so whenever we need to know what's going to happen tomorrow, we just call Gabriella.
Yes, and she'll let us know exactly what's going on. Definitely. All right, guys, thank you so much. Stay tuned for our Thursday show. And, guys, we love you.
But remember
to always love yourselves, too. Good night. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Gabriella, for being on the chat room. We love you guys. Take care. And I'm going to end it with our theme song because I just love that song. And I'm sure you guys